Welcome everyone, this is the Rocket.Chat Engineer Podcast. I'm Rodrigo Nascimento, Rocket.Chat CTO co-founder and your host on this weekly podcast. Here we talk about the news and the engineering areas from the past week. And I have with me today our backend leader and co-founder, Diego Sampaio.
Hello, hello.
Our apps engine leader, Douglas Gubert.
Hello, folks.
Our cloud leader, Aaron Ago.
Hello, hello.
Our front-end leader, Guilherme Gazzo.
Whee!
Our mobile leader, Diego Mello.
Hey guys.
And our Omnichannel product manager, Renato Becker.
Hey everybody.
So let's get started. Directly to the backend, Diego. What are the news on the backend on the past week and the news for the next one?
All right. I guess the main highlights for the past week are we released a patch release for the 3.8 version. It's the 3.8.1. It's also out on a Snap channel. And also we launched the first release candidate for the 3.9 release. Also, like beyond from that, we also have been working on the microservices code. We are still improving the presence service that we still have duplicated. So we are now merging both presence codes from the monolith and the microservices version. Just to mention a few things that were included on those release. I guess the main ones are on the 3.8.1 release. We included a fix on the engagement dashboard for deployments using a Mongo version older than the 4.0, because like we say that we support Mongo starting from Mongo 3.4, but for the engagement dashboard there was a operation that was not supported. So we included a fix on that, and also a good thing that we included on the 3.9 release candidate was a old PR that adds a second factor authentication to external authenticators, which are like OAuth, SAML, and LDAP. So before that, if you were using one of them, but you choose on your user to use second factor authentication, you were not like being requested to use them on login. And on 3.9, you'll be then asked for that. That adds a new layer of security on your account. And also on the 3.9 release, we included a fix for a special operation you could do on Mongo that were not supported when using change streams. So I think with that, we now support all operations on Mongo to be like catched by the change stream. And yeah, I think that's it.
Good, thank you. And I can see that this microservices and change stream getting more stable, right? On those small improvements that we're figuring out.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I'd say, can I say that the focus continues to be on microservices on the next days?
Yeah, for the next release, definitely we'll be keep working on the microservices more and more.
Cool. Nice. Thank you. Moving on, Doug, what are the news on your area on Apps Engine?
Alrighty. We've worked on a few bugs last week. One of them was introduced by the removal of the compiler from the engine. Where when you updated apps, they would actually be inserted with some invalid format for the fields in Mongo. So it would actually like have a key in the document that was the file name, which had a dot character in it.
And it's not.
And then like we fixed that for the 3.9.
No, just say
Yes.
that's not supported by MongoDB because it's using the dot notation to subfields, right?
Yep. Yeah, and then we've fixed that, and it's already in 3.9 as well. We've added the modifier parameter to another event handler, the one that handles user joining, like the one that happens after a user has joined the room. With the modifier, you can actually handle the response in a much more rich way. Now you can like send messages, save stuff to the database, or handle some many other operations that the modifier allows you to. Also, it's already on the 3.9. We've had very good developments on the HA bug investigation. Now we've pinpointed it to the routine that loads all the apps during the startup of Rocket.Chat server. So what happens is that they might be writing status changes to the database, making that causing that in a high availability cluster setup. Some instances read this kind of like a temporary status from the database, and then they might like refrain from updating or enabling the apps they are trying to load right now. So kind of like a race condition. And we are working on that to see if it is really like the culprit, but it looks like we're on the right track in this one. And also like the permission system, we have worked a bit more on the definitions, and we're expanding the proof of concept. But because of the other bugs I mentioned earlier, it lost a bit of priority last week, but we are going to pick it up in this one. And that's it from us.
Great. We should make that podcast specifically talking about the permission system, right?
Yes.
Let's do that. On the HR bug investigation, were you guys able to produce that locally or only on a really high scale cluster like Open?
We were able to reproduce it in an environment locally. Tassio actually has his Kubernetes environment, so he's running, I don't know, 5 instances with like 20 plus installed apps. And then when restoring all these instances, they actually have some discrepancies, which is what led us to believe that the loading process was the culprit. Yes, and then now with that we can finally try to fix it and make sure it is really fixing the problem, right? Because before we could have tried anything and we as we didn't know how to reproduce, we couldn't be sure if we were doing the right thing.
Yeah, that's great. You're able to reproduce locally. That's a really good step forward. Great, thank you. Moving on, cloud. Aaron, what's going on there?
All right. Just want to kind of piggyback on Doug's about the HA. K3D. It's awesome. I know that Tasio is actually using that. It's awesome for local development. Anyways, so this week is actually we have a holiday here in the U.S. So part of the team will actually be out. So it's kind of a short week for some of us. But so we're still working on wrapping up some of the push gateway stuff. It's kind of really down to like the little pieces now. Not a lot of big stuff going on. But some priority shift kind of over last week that we will be actually shifting to work on the add-ons, marketplace add-ons, instead of the registration process. And the add-ons, kind of the idea here is that you'll be able to purchase kind of the service level add-ons through the marketplace, kind of like an easier way of doing these sort of things. But this week is also going to be dedicated to setting up for another event that will be utilizing the microservice architecture. So we've got some dedicated servers we're setting up, and I think finally we're kind of last week and this week working in the Helm 3 chart. It's also another useful case, even we're using K3D. It makes it super useful to kind of be able to quickly stand up a cluster locally. So we're kind of testing that out. Helm 3 required us to move to our own dedicated repo before we were using the Helm charts repo. So there's a bit of an adjustment here, but we're kind of just putting those final finishing touches on it. And then we'll actually have probably some news to share next week of it actually being live. That's it from us.
Cool. Well, what's can you go deep on what is this Helm 3 chart? I'm not totally aware.
So they actually deprecated Helm 2. Oh, Siri trying to be nosy. They deprecated Helm 2. It used they called like a tiller inside of Kubernetes, so it required like this tiller component to be installed. And Helm 3 is kind of like that next iteration. It actually removes the tiller component. And also kind of along with that, they deprecated their shared repo and trying to force kind of like this idea of everybody having their own repo for charts. So like I know like Bitnami has all of theirs moved into the Bitnami chart repo. I'm trying to think of I think Mongoose is in Bitnami. But just like if you go to, they have a new website, I think, for just like discovering charts. It's slipping my mind. I forget what it's called. But basically the idea is like it's similar to like it's more distributed, right? So it's no longer a single repo. Everybody kind of is able to maintain their own repo. They could before, but now it's actually like encouraged. So it's kind of the big difference.
I see.
Is it something like the official Docker images, like that we have our own Docker file, the repo with our own Docker file, but Docker guys have only the list of the official images?
I think it's even more
distributed.
It'd be more equivalent to like our own Docker moving from the official, right, where there's the official image to everybody having their own. It's kind of breaking it apart. I think is to probably encourage more people to maintain their own charts. I'm not sure the exact reasoning behind it, but that's the end result, right? Is that we kind of have to have more hands-on to the chart.
Cool. Good. And another question is regarding the add-ons. Is that a way to allow people to purchase like services, for example, like allow them to buy push notification packages in the future, something like that?
Yeah, so this is actually the first use case will be for being able to buy push increase through there. Kind of have the sponsorship program now, but this is to, I guess, reduce that barrier even more. So it's kind of the next iteration on that.
Great. Thank you, Aaron. Moving on, front end, Gazo, what do you have from your side?
Hello. First, the patch release, if it's not a big deal, but if you have like Internet Explorer users, you will probably will be strongly like tempted to update, because we released like the fix to make the client work again to Internet Explorer. Actually, I mentioned last week about the bundle problem that we have updated, and it like disturbed a little bit how the build process, and that's why we had like problems with Internet Explorer. So please update if not, and if you don't have like the engagement dashboard, probably you
Is that at the
can wait for the next
3.8.1?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Nice.
One. Yeah. And about what we have been doing, and for the next release, like something interesting that we discovered. I don't think discovered because it was already there. Just we had some problems with transitions. People can disable transitions. Some like Mac OS users can disable some transitions, and it will reflect on the browser as well. So we improved this code to work with both, like with transitions and without transitions, and which will be released at 3.9, this proper fix. And as development or innovation beyond the bugs, we are still working on the header and the contextual bars. Actually, is a huge effort, because we have a lot of code using like some leaked context, like using some objects that shouldn't be there and stuff like that. Then we are like creating the concept of context for the opened room. Nowadays we are using like something like a globals, and now we are using like the context itself, like we for a long time we are like creating new object and storing in a global, then and sometimes using like singletons to store all the information. And now we are like, if we open a new room, we are creating the whole context inside there. Then all the libraries or the helpers will be working under this context. And yeah, that's why it is taking this time, because it's quite an effort, like change all the stuff. But it is like a good movement, because will be like very close to finish the rewrite. We will be like only waiting for the message. And I hope this how we develop how we structure the new code help the developers to like easily develop new features and improve the design. And the last thing that probably will bring like a lot of pain for us, I just moved a lot some folders to our. We had agreement about how the client should follow the structure of the folders, and then we move it to this new concept, and should be easier for any developer to understand how the structure works, and we are trying to avoid like create or lead developers to create like components in the wrong place and libraries or helpers in the wrong place. So that's why we are moving to this new structure. And I think in first time in the Rocket.Chat, or at least in the front end, we are writing like a README inside the folders explaining why we should keep this structure. Like, so yeah, I hope this helps. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's nice to see these new whole organizations you're getting on. Splitting, separating the client code on the root client folder. That's a nice thing, because I was sometimes lost trying to find where the things were in the past. So the separation between backend and front end is a good thing to see, and of course all the rest of the organization you were mentioning.
Yeah, we are trying to follow like the semantic of the features, like how the like sidebar, room, and header, footer, and stuff, like how usually the looking at the HTML, how the feature should like be structured. And yeah, there is like some other there are other rules like to create hooks and helpers, but it's supposed to be easier to and yeah, we are trying to move all the code to under the client fold and let the meter outside, to maybe in the future we can build like the client without meter, and maybe we can build more than one client. And yeah, that our I'm not sure if we're gonna see this or gonna make this happen, but it is like a desirable thing to have. Yeah.
For sure. And we were talking about those singletons class. Are you meaning that you're removing the room manager? Singleton?
Not yet. I think this one will be the last. I'm removing we have like tab bar and Rocket.Chat tab bar, and
Okay.
and mainly now it's mainly the tab bar stuff, but in the future I will like break the room manager and like keep some tasks there, but remove others. Like React sometimes helps in some ways, then how to structure, like how to put the code. And yeah, but for sure the role manager will like impact a lot how things work nowadays, or how doesn't work. I don't know, but will impact a lot.
Yeah, for sure. I was checking another question. I was checking earlier today. You guys finished that brand new info page, right? The new design, but it's missing the some parts from the backend, right? To release that.
Yeah, we finished, and we are like we are missing some information. And I'm not sure if we're gonna have this in a midterm, because at least half of the information are new even in the server. But we are like like how many pushes we have used inside Rocket.Chat, not I don't remember but it is like we could like just let this information like commented and released, but I think we'll wait for maybe Diego will have a better plan, but it's not a big deal. We just like retrieve the information and show it in the client.
Sure. Thank you. So, mobile, Melo, what are the news there?
So on the mobile team, we also released a patch last week with fixes for Jitsi users not being able to unmute on iOS, and threads. Sometimes some chats wouldn't be marked as red. So this patch was released last Monday as 4.12.1. We also fixed a couple of issues for image handling on Android 10 and 11. But this is not on the patches. This is what we worked last week. And we finished the implementation of channel actions, and right to left capability. So yeah, both of them are waiting review right now. We've been working on auto updates on F-Droid Store and making Google OAuth to work on external browsers, because starting January 2021, Google will drop support to OAuth on embedded views. So we'll make that happen on the next release, so everything is going to work just fine. Later this week, we're going to take a look on a long-going issue where messages will overlap each other on Android. And also on the rooms list, sometimes they seems to not update on the Prism. And yeah, I guess
Thank
that's
you.
it.
And we have some open positions for mobile, right? It's important to mention them.
Yes. Right now we have for junior and intermediate, right? I guess that's it. Yeah.
So if you're listening to this podcast and wants to apply or knows anyone that fits the React Native requirements, please share that. We are hiring some positions there. Moving on, Omnichannel, Renato, what are the news there?
Yeah, as I mentioned in our last episode, the team was working on some small issues and improvements in the Omnichannel admin area. So I can say that several UI and UX enhancements, as well as Omnichannel REST API improvements, are coming out with the next release, 3.9, the current release candidate. Now the team is focused on the product roadmap again. So our main goal is to implement the Omnichannel directory. So this new feature set is taking shape. The initial UI elements have already been created, such as the shortcut to access the Omnichannel directory, as well as the pages where the contact list and the archived rooms will be placed. So yeah, everything is going fine so far. We are now moving forward, and now we are focused on the other UI elements that are part of this implementation, such as the new contextual bars, forms, other small features like the ability to set a contact manager for each Omnichannel end user. So that's the plan, is to continue working on this whole feature set, and the plan is to deliver this feature by the end of December. Apart from that, we are also focused on integrations. Our main we are focused on the integration with Salesforce. Now we are kind of polishing the implementation. That is just one more feature missing. That is the ability to send chat transcripts to Salesforce servers. So yeah, it's the same. This implementation is on track, and the plan is to finish this whole implementation by the end of this week. And the last but not least, last week we had to fix an issue on our Facebook gateway. Facebook changed one of their endpoints, and the field that used to be optional is now mandatory. So we had to look into it, and we found and fixed the problem. And I'd like to thank you, Aaron, for helping me out with that case. By the end of the day, the problem was solved, and I can confirm that our customers are now able to activate the integration. So thank you again. That's it. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thank you. So other than that, some news from my side, maybe just that we are participating on the University of São Paulo. I guess I mentioned on the last episode as well. So we're getting some internships, interns applying to work on Rocket.Chat during this Brazilian summer. We got 70 applications. That's quite nice. So we're interviewing people during this week to get some interns to, help us to move on some things during those 3 months here, and starting getting more this, let's say, culture of getting interns and evolving people, growing people inside a company. That would be nice. Right. Okay. Thank you all for listening to this weekly podcast. This podcast is available as video on YouTube and audio on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and others. And thanks for the Rocket.Chat engineering team to make this possible. See you on the next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
See you.
Bye, guys.